So, I guess good morning. We're kind of out. We did some of our chores, and now we're doing a little bit about some gardening stuff before it gets too hot. But this is something that, I guess, an introduction to something that we do a lot of, which is seed saving. I guess a good way to think about seed saving is, well, if you're doing things for a sustainability perspective, seed saving is a fairly important aspect. And really, in some ways, it's like a second crop from what you're growing, because that's giving you the ability to propagate that, grow it again without having to buy seeds. Now, won't get into, there's lots of different caveats with different things, and there's nothing wrong with buying seeds. We have some plants that we don't, well, we're just not we haven't perfected the seed saving abilities on our end, so we do buy seeds. And there's other plants that we often will buy, similar to like livestock, we'll buy seeds periodically to kind of mix up our genetic base, I guess, because the more you delve into the subject, some plants are more prone to things like inbreeding depression and that, which kind of reduces your productivity, whereas other plants, such as lettuce here, probably fall in the category of some of the easier, maybe not the easiest, but some of the easier plants to keep, so or keep seeds from. So kind of our story or situation is we basically keep two varieties of lettuce, and we've experimented with others in the past, but it's just these are two that we like. They taste good, they grow well, and they've done well for us getting seeds, so we've got lots of seeds. So this is how you can see it here, but this is black-seeded Simpson lettuce. Unfortunately, our most spectacular one, the seed head broke off the other day. I think here's a piece of one that broke off. We'll just put that aside for a second. So basically what we did was, this was an early planting. I think some of these were transplants. This was an early planting. We just had a row here, and one thing with lettuce, you want to try to avoid saving seeds from the first ones or the fastest ones to go to flower, which they call bolting. So although it doesn't look like it here, basically these, I think we had what, five plants we left. These five were very slow growing. They stayed nice and compact, and they were like the perfect little lettuce heads, and so that was why we let them go to seed. So rather than picking them, because they were the, I guess, ideal specimens in the row, we ate everything else and left these couple. Now we probably left more than we actually needed, but yeah, I guess some real basics about lettuce, and this is information. I mean, there's lots of resources. I'm kind of quoting some stuff from the Seed Savers Exchange website, which we'll post a link to on the details for this video. But lettuce is nice because it doesn't require a huge separation distance. I think they recommend like 10 to 20 feet. We've probably gone well above that just because we have the space. So basically we're growing our black-seeded Simpson in this part of the garden, and sort of on the other side of the house we have another garden bed where we have our prize head lettuce, which is another variety. It's a red leaf variety. So we're easily can maintain the separation distance. So lettuce is basically, it's an annual crop, which annuals are typically the easiest to save seeds from. So basically you'll get your seed in the same year you plant it, which is awesome, which is different from, say, the Swiss chard here, which is kind of off to the side here, which is a biannual. So seed saving from that requires sort of a 2-year plan. Not going to get into that right now, but just as a difference. So basically, these little flower heads aren't too big, but like lettuce produces an abundance of these small little flowers. You don't need a lot of individuals either. It's nice to keep them together so you do get the cross-pollination, but realistically, if you only had one lettuce plant that went to seed, you could still save seeds. We probably go a little over the top because we tend to save a lot of seeds, and then kind of works out that half the time we don't use most of them, and then you just kind of keep saving the next year, so you're always replenishing that stock, which you've always got some. But basically, like, this flower head obviously is not ready yet. It's still going to flower. Most of these ones that are still green. This one's started. You've got some brown flowers in there. But this one's, I'll bring this one back up here, this one that came off. Basically what you're waiting for, it's kind of like dandelions. They are in the same, the aster family. You're waiting for those little fluffs to come up. So here's a little seed pod. The fluff's kind of already fallen off. But basically, let's see if I can do this here. Inside there, so there's the lettuce seed. So this is all from one little flower. Little black seeds, hence the name, black-seeded Simpson. But I mean, here's the one that's not ripe. So you're part of the thing with seed saving is knowing how to tell which ones are ripe and which ones are worth keeping and which ones are not. Obviously, these little ones probably didn't get pollinated. Yeah, so those are basically ready to save. So I got a little box here, or container here. It's not going to open. We've already saved a few of these, so. But yeah, so when you look at that versus the number of flower heads on there, you can see lettuce is very, very easy plant to get a lot of seeds quickly. Sort of a super brief, I mean the whole topic, and we'll do other videos about other plants and sort of some of the easy ones, but for us, once you figure out how to grow lettuce, almost it's, tendency to go to bolt so quickly when it's hot and all that sort of stuff. So once you figure that part out, the seed saving side is really simple, and you can collect a large volume of seed with relatively little effort, and then not have to buy seeds in the future. Every sort of garden vegetable that we get into, we do some research on, well, how do you save them? And so as part of our decision making as to what to grow, we look at, how hard is it? How far away do they have to be? Can you have multiple varieties? Do you need multiple varieties? Like I mentioned, we only have 2 varieties of lettuce that we grow. We've tried others. Those are the 2 that we like the best based on the way they grow. If you think about it on the front end, something that I've found, I guess we've found, is once you get into the habit of doing the seed saving, it actually ends up simpler in the long run. So in the beginning, it's a little more thought, but eventually it just becomes another habit of gardening. This is the prize head lettuce. So this was actually last year, so 2019. We did really good on collecting seeds on this. So we have quite a stockpile, and this is all planted from our own seeds. But you can see it's starting to go to flower, or I guess bolt, or try to go to flower. And we've kind of done the same thing. We picked out, I don't know, probably over half of what was in here. Again, we've probably left more than we actually needed, but it's just kind of what happened. But yeah, this has been the same thing. This was planted late, and I don't even remember, like maybe even beginning of June. It was pretty late.
And it wasn't started ahead.
No, and it wasn't.
This
It was
seeds
planted
direct
seeded. So when you think about that, given how hot we've actually been, it's done pretty good not to already be in seed or gone to flower. So that's just one of those variables. Like, this is very lettuce specific, but you select over time and it just gets better. And one thing we find with pretty much everything is when you start saving the seeds year after year after year, they do better. I mean, again, there's things you can read about this, but it's like they just get adapted to your conditions and your management styles, and it's an important thing. But anyways, we'll kind of see how these guys do. We might do a follow-up just to show here's what they look like when they've actually finished going to flower, and we'll probably come back and do another one about tomatoes at some point too, and saving tomato seeds, because that's another very, very easy plant to save seeds from and sort of seed independent if you want to be. But anyways, on that note, we've got lots and lots of other stuff to do, so we'll probably end it there and go on to the next thing.